In this video, I want to briefly address two questions. One is, what kind of data do ePortfolios produce? And the second is, how is that data used to drive instruction and differentiate? And to do that, I'm gonna show you some of the ePortfolios of my students, and then I'm gonna reference a couple of articles. First, we'll start with the first question, and the question is, what kind of data does it produce? And I'll tell you, in my own experience, what we've seen when we use ePortfolios is an extremely accurate representation of what students has learned. And here's a quote that I have from Lisa Nielsen, and I'm going to reference it for you. She says that ePortfolios provide a great way to capture, document, make meaning, and share what we have learned with others. And let me just show you one of our portfolios from one of our students. Here, what we're looking at right now is one of our students' portfolios, and as you can see, we've provided plenty of artifacts of their learning. Here you have a little video that the student has embedded based on the topic that we were working with that week. Down here there's a video that she's created, and I think we'll see some podcast here. And what we can do as we gaze through this ePortfolio is not only just have single assessments, but we have a very broad spectrum of what the student has accomplished in the class. The next thing I want to talk about is how this data we just looked at, how it's used to drive instruction. And I can tell you, before we started doing ePortfolios, we just had students come in each week and we would do little activities and stuff with them. But what we realized when they left the class is they hadn't made anything, they hadn't produced any content. And sure, I mean, we felt good about ourselves about what they had learned, but we didn't have anything to show for it. And so now what you've just seen with the ePortfolios, now we have artifacts of that learning, and we can actually look at that and gauge and say, our students have learned this and this, but they've not learned this and this, and now we need to tweak our instruction. Let me give you a quote. The author here is talking about standardized assessment, and she says that standardized assessment are at odds with deep-seated American values about individual differences in worth. And if you think about it, that's really true. We know in education how we should be differentiating, we should be providing different kinds of instruction for students. And that's one thing that ePortfolios are particularly good at. A student can highlight their skills and their expertise in different areas, and that's a leg up on standardized assessment, because it's hard for us to imagine teaching in very differentiated ways and then ultimately judging everyone based on the same assessment. So ePortfolios, in my research, have turned out to be a very accurate representation of students' knowledge about a topic, and they provide an excellent summative assessment.